Okay, so this is going to be about using Tynker in our VL. Tynker is a coding platform, and the reason why we think it's a good fit for VL is that, first of all, it's drag and drop, easy to pick up, and fairly familiar to a lot of our elementary students. At this time, all the students have Tynker accounts, and quite a few are actively using it. I think I checked yesterday, and it was over 100. So they've got a kind of good base of knowledge to build on. The way Tynker operates is fairly, it's a good fit for VL. They do a lot of built-in scaffolding. They have tutorials, a lot of demoing, and a lot of feedback. So on most Tynker engagements, it's basically, here's an example. Here's how you can build this example. Here's a tweak you can put into it. And now, what else can you do? So it really helps kids make a lot of progress in coding really quickly so they can get into the really cool projects. And what we're mostly going to look at today are the Tynker content area modules, which have quite a few links into a lot of topics and a lot of areas, and the project templates that can be adapted for pretty much anything you're doing in class. And as Alex and I were talking about earlier, Tynker is another option, and it's kind of a unique option for kids to show their learning, and just something different that they can work on. And also pretty easy to present and share, and I'll go over that towards the end of the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to get into a content area example in Tynker. And I think I need to, I was presenting a tab, so I think I need to switch over to a tab.
Yeah, you'll have to just reshare different tab.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Is something up on the screen? I can't quite tell.
You're good. We can see the Tynker dashboard.
Okay. So these are all the Tynker modules, and this is basically what the kids have access to. There's a link on all the launch pages, and they have access to all of these programming courses. And what we're going to look at now is down here, they have some content area modules, and there's quite a few. And they run kind of looking at basically grade 2 up to even grade 8. We're going to look at one in this social studies module. Oh man. Okay, I need to just switch tabs again. Okay, so this is the social studies module here. Click on that. And it has quite a variety of templates. Just scroll down a bit so you can see some of the things on offer. So English, and then going into social studies. And we're going to look at this one, social studies for younger kids, cardinal directions. And here is what a student would experience if they were going through this. So it starts off with a demo of the example.
I like the sound effects.
Okay, and then from there, it will take you into actually building this example up. And this is one thing I like about Tynker. It allows kids to make a lot of progress in a short time and kind of keep the motivation up. So tutorial is going to be on the left. It kind of tells you what you're going to do. Press next. And we're going to customize the project a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is add an actor. Tynker calls characters in a project actors. And so then we've got to place them north, south, east, and west. And there's quite a bit of a choice of characters. Character Builder has quite a few options. You just click on one, and there's tons of customization. I'm not really going to go into it here, but a lot of different animations. So we'll hit save, and that pops out onto the screen. So I'm on the upper right of the screen, if you're looking for where I'm working. So we'll put him on one side. Another great place is the media library. And so if I'm looking for a treasure, like in the example, I can type in treasure. And I have quite a few options that I can use. So we'll click that. And we'll drag that up to the top. And then we'll just quickly add 2 more characters. Go. Maybe looking for something different. I'll search for a dragon in the media library and use the angry dragon. Make him a little bit smaller. Okay, so now we have our basic setup, and we'll go back to the tutorial. And this is where it goes through and teaches the students how to actually put in the code. There's a focus on the really important blocks. This is an ask block. And basically, you can put in a question here and wait for a user response. And you can just drag that straight out of the tutorial and put it in, which can save a lot of time. And then it says here you have to read the user input, the answer that they give. So if you drag that out, this is just a big if-else logical sequence here. And then you've got to use the go-to block. So if their answer is north, that means the character is going to move to the treasure. So I'll do go to treasure. And you can keep getting the block from the tutorial. South, need to go to actor 1. East, need to go to the angry dragon. And that leaves the last choice as going to the one called actor here. And kids can check their progress straight away. So we don't have this totally done, but if we click, I'll click the full screen button here. If we click play, so that code is working. So the students can get a lot of instant feedback right away. So we'll go out of here. Next stage of the tutorial, this basically tells the kids how to interact when they touch other characters. In this case, the 3 decoys here are going to give a message. So we'll go to the little ninja kid. And so when he touches the pirate kid, he will say a message. So we just need to repeat that for the other characters. It's the south, so we can put in a custom message. And then we got to do it for our angry dragon. And we'll put in a custom message for him. Okay, so we've got that done. So let's just test that really quick. And you can see up here the dialogue is working. So we're good to go to the next part, which is making the program do something when the pirate kid touches one of the actors. So we can do when the pirate kid touches any, we'll play a sound. I'll just go to add sound so you can kind of get an idea of the different sound effects available. There are many, and you can also upload your own custom sound. So we'll do a bang here. And then we'll hide the character if he makes the wrong choice. So again, we'll test that out. So that's working. Got my dialogue, got my sound effects, and he disappeared. And so there's one more step in the tutorial, and this is where at the end of an example, Tynker will throw out something, they'll throw out a little tweak, and they'll say, why don't you try this and check it out? So in this case, we're gonna make the characters move. So if we choose a character here, can just drag out this block of code, and what this is doing, it's just slightly rotating the characters to make them kind of do a little dance. And this is inside a loop going forever. So we can test this right away. Let's click play, and we see that's our little tweak for now. The character is moving back and forth. And then it prompts you, oh, what other details could you add? Could you make the dinosaur glide away or spin around? So go down to the dinosaur, or the, not the dinosaur, the dragon. And we'll make him glide a little bit. Okay, and then so we'll test this. So let's go to the dragon, and he's going to go a little bit crazy. So we added a couple of animations, and I'll just pop this in for another character. Okay, and that is the end of the tutorial. So the students have built that tutorial pretty quickly. And now, the thing you can think about now is, how can we build off of this? Oh, sorry, I got to, let me change my tab back. So just going back to the slideshow here. So what the students have learned there, they've learned how to add characters, they've learned how to manipulate characters, they can collect user input and do something with that input based on what the user chooses. They've learned how to add a sound effect. And so now they're in a really good position because they can take this a lot further. They can expand this to include the ordinal directions, so northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. They could use multi-step directions instead of just one. So maybe they give their partner a clue. Partner has to go on a treasure hunt based on using the different directions. And they could share that with a friend, and the friend could go on the treasure hunt. And then maybe the friend they share with will be inspired, and they can build their own treasure hunt. And you could also take this further if you're teaching map skills and incorporate maybe a map key or map symbols and have the other characters give clues based on those. So there's a lot that could come out of a fairly straightforward example there. Okay, so that's a content area example. And I also wanted to look at one of the project templates. And so this one we're going to look at, this could easily be adapted into just something like a book study or a creative writing project. So we're going to take a look at that now. And I need to redo my tab here. Let's go back into okay, so you should be back on my Tynker screen. I'm going to get out of there. And I'm going to go into a project template. So I'll just scroll through here for a minute or so. There's a lot available, a lot of different templates. Block coding is probably going to be the most useful for virtual learning. And there's all kinds of possibilities. I'm going to go into storytelling. And I'm going to go into this tell a joke one. So this will basically have kids code up a demo where two characters are interacting.
Tell a joke. In this project, you'll make the birds tell a joke. Click the image to see a sample.
So this one is actually
you'll learn
simpler than
how
the
to
one
change
just looked at.
costumes, add dialogue, play sounds, and rotate actors.
So the tutorial is going to talk them through it. And first
Customize
thing it
the background.
Use this switch
1.
background.
Attach this block to the on start block.
And
2.
you can
Click on the
choose
white
a
text
custom
field
background.
of the
so I'll
switch
just go
to
to add background
block.
here.
3.
And
click
as
add
with
background to
kind of
choose
the
a
other
new
choices in
background for your
Tynker,
scene.
there are a lot of options for backgrounds. You can also upload your own background. So it could be useful if you were doing like, you know, recreating a scene in a book or a creative writing project. So I've switched that background to City Street. So I've done that. Next step in the tutorial.
Tell the joke.
I have to program
the owl to
ask a
switch to its
question.
first costume
So I can
and
use
ask
the
a
blocks from
question
the tutorial.
when the program starts.
On start,
Your code should look like the image
costume
below.
is just basically an animation for this character. And then a really important block, the say block. So that's going to make the character talk. So the tutorial shows kids, oh, it should look like this. And then if I test this really quick, so the owl is talking, he has a little talk bubble that I gave him using the say block. Okay, and now I gotta program how the bird is going to respond.
Make the birds switch to the proper costume
so
and wait
similar,
before responding to the owl's question.
But I'm gonna have the bird
Your code
wait
should
a few
look like the
seconds
image
for the
below.
owl to talk. And I've got that.
Say the punchline.
And then
Make the bird
is
say
going
the
to
punchline,
respond
then switch to its next costume.
and
The
change
code
to a
should look
different
like the image
pose.
below.
And so it says the code should look like this. Mine looks pretty good. So let's test this. I'll make it full screen, and we'll see if this is correct. So the owl has a thought bubble. And the bird has a response. So this is looking good. I've learned how to take two characters and make them talk together. I can go on to the next.
Respond to
part,
the joke. Switch the owl to its
which
next
is
costume
responding
and play laughing sounds.
to the joke in this
Your
case.
code should look like the
So
image below.
I can add this into the owl. Owl's going to change his pose, and he's going to play a sound. Again, I can customize it. I can add a sound. I can give him a cartoon scream, and then a girl laugh. So my code looks good. So let's test this again. There we go. So I've been able to program two characters to have an interaction. And
Fix
here's
the
where
bird. Did
here's
you
where
notice
Tynker
that the
throws
bird is
in a
facing the
little
wrong
tweak.
way?
Why don't you try this? This is
Drag
pretty
these
cool.
blocks
So it
before
says, oh, the bird's
switch to
facing the wrong
costume
way.
to fix it.
So we can use these two
Your
blocks
code should look like the image below.
to make him rotate left, right, and then point him left. So let's try that out with this final change. There we go. So the bird's turned the right way this time. And
Bonus. Tell
that is the
another
end
joke.
of the tutorial.
Do you have a funny joke to tell?
Think of
Now
what
you can
the
bring it to
students have
life
learned
with
here.
Tynker.
They've learned
You can
how
create
to
your own actors and use
get
say 4
characters,
blocks to have
create
them
a
tell a
scene
joke.
with the characters. They've learned how to make the characters talk and interact. They've learned how to put in sound effects. And so at this point, if I can just switch back to my slide now. At this point, there are a lot of possibilities that they could start on in say, a book study or a creative writing context. They can recreate a scene from a story they've read. Maybe they make an alternate ending to a story. They can just come up with their own interactive digital story if you're doing some creative writing or something. But the skills they learned in that template demo are going to open up a lot of possibilities. And so maybe you make something like this as an option for them to show their understanding of creative writing or something similar. And a little bit about pre-K and KG and probably grade 1 as well. There is something called Tynker Junior, and it's only available on the iPad, but it really focuses in on having the kids make a plan, follow steps in a plan, a lot of sequencing, coming up with patterns, recognizing patterns, going through a cycle, and introduces them to logic such as if something happens, then you do this, otherwise you do this. So all KG and pre-K students are set up with Tynker Junior right now. And there is only one module for this, but it has quite a lot of individual lessons in it. So maybe you just use one of these. You maybe assign a lesson in a slide for the week, or if you're focusing on sequencing, you can look through and see which lessons in the Tynker Junior really hit on sequencing. And just the last thing here, so if you have students who are creating things, it's pretty easy to have them share it. And I will just switch my view one last time. Okay. So I'll get out of here. And I'll just go into one of my classes. Okay, so when you eventually create a class, and I see Shilpa is adding people already. Thanks, Shilpa. If you go into projects, oh, hold on. No, this is my test class. Let me go into coding mornings, MindSpark mornings. Okay. So if you eventually set up a class, you get this pretty handy dashboard to see who is engaging, kind of what they've done, and when they did it. And you can actually go into student projects if you want. But to add a project to be shared, you can go into projects. And I have a few here. So so you can go into their project, you can also share it. You can also add it into, you can add several into a showcase. So if I go in here to this project, click showcase, and I'll put this one into my showcase. It'll say project in showcase. And then if you click showcase, it will show you all the projects that are going to be shared. And it allows you to enter a description. And then it also generates a link for other people to check out these projects. So this is the link that you would put into maybe one of your virtual learning slides. And with this link, people who have access to it, they'll be able to go in and play these different projects and then maybe get some inspiration for their own project. Okay, so I'm just going to switch back really here to my slideshow. And so to get set up and going on this, all teachers will have access. We just need to actually add you into our Tynker subscription and send an email to the tech specialist email to get access or to get help setting up a class. Same for ideas for how you might use this in virtual learning. You can browse through all the different content area modules Tynker has, and then maybe email one of us for help with that. And then I have drop-in sessions going with several grades already, and I could easily add sort of a Tynker support session or a drop-in session if you have students who want to use Tynker to show their understanding. And that is about it for me, and we finished right on time.
One of the things he highlighted there at the end about being able to share student projects is really, really interesting and important right now, so that you can give your students an authentic audience. I've seen a lot of students that I've worked with in the past who have made really cool Tynker games or interactive books, and then being able to share that even on the Tynker community, right, Andy? You can share it so other students all over the world can play your games or read your interactive books, and then the students are able to go back and see how many people have viewed or played their games. So it's really great way to encourage them to put in that extra effort to make something that they know is going to be seen by other children all over the world.
I have one question kind of pertaining to what Alex just said. So they can share their work with an authentic audience, and that's amazing and awesome. What is the potential for feedback? Like, do other users get to leave comments, or, you know, likes or dislikes or things, or, you know, do we have to be concerned about that sort of?
I think it's just likes, right? I don't think they can write anything. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy.
I think so. So when they're ready to share their project, there'll be an option that's called, I think, publish to community.
Yeah.
And if they hit that, I think it is just likes and dislikes. But I can go in and double check that. Sometimes this stuff changes.
Yeah. I think in the past when I had done it with my students, they're able to see how many plays. So how many times have people pressed the play button? And that tends to go really high, really quick, and that's always really exciting for the kids. And then there's the likes, and then I think there might even be the option of allowing other people to remix your work, which is really interesting for them too, because if they make a really cool beginning of something, or you can see how many people have taken your work and expanded on it, which is also, you know, goes back to some of our standards around digital citizenship and remixing and sharing and things like that. So very transdisciplinary.
Yeah. Cool.
And then, of course, the Tynker Junior is just fantastic because it has all of the same concepts, but with so much less reading. And you would be amazed at what these 3, 4, 5-year-olds are able to do with coding when they understand the symbols and what the symbols mean, as opposed to having to read the words.
Yeah, it's 100% symbol based, so quite developmentally appropriate for that age. Yeah.
All right, looks like you got some excited people, Andy. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit about Tynker. And now it's up to our team to get the teachers up and running and get that into their virtual learning slides. Thanks so much, and thank you everyone else for coming.